Hello everybody and welcome to the GMS Magazine videos. This is the RPG A Day 2019 series of videos, an initiative created by Dave Chapman, Mr. Autocratic, who decided it would be cool to have a whole month in which every single day we talk about role-playing games and do it in a positive, fantastic manner. I thought, yeah, okay, we'll do that. You can find more information about it down there in the show notes and the video description. So you can click on the link and go to Dave's blog, which there's an awful lot of really fantastic stuff to read in there. And while you're there, please do remember to click on the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up or down if you enjoy this video. And by all means, do leave me your comments because I love to hear what you have to say. Right, let's talk about the word of today, which is calamity. You know, I think twice we've had a calamity happening in the world of role-playing games. One is when Magic the Gathering stormed the world of gaming. So many people went for it, and whether we like it or not, whether we want it or to admit it or not, role-playing games suffered immensely because of it. Magic the Gathering was such a powerful, such a fantastic game, so easy to get into, so addictive, so easy to play, and it provided with such a fantastic experience that loads of people decided that that's what they wanted to do, which is fair enough. And that had an impact. It's part of the reasons, one of the reasons why TSR went down and Wizards of the Coast, the actual designers and publishers of Magic the Gathering, bought the whole company out of love. They did it out of love. Let's not forget this. Wizards of the Coast bought TSR because the people who ran Wizards of the Coast at the time were absolutely in love with Dungeons and Dragons. And of course there were several attempts with Spellfire, with Blood Wars to bring D&D onto the table with more or less success. But there were so very many games out there at the time, so many card games. Lord of the Rings had a fantastic game. Jihad for Vampire was amazing. Spellfire was a very decent game. And Blood Wars for Planescape was actually also pretty decent. So, but there were so many, it was very difficult to compete. And eventually, an awful lot of role-playing game companies went down because people had to decide whether to spend their money in role-playing games or Magic the Gathering and very many other games. And Magic the Gathering, you know, collectible card games provided this instant gratification. You know, you buy a little sachet, you spend 10 euros, 10 pounds, $10, whatever, into a deck and you're playing right away. You don't have to spend, you know, whatever amount of time in learning a game. So that was a calamity. It happened. That was calamitous for the world of role-playing games. And then things continue to happen and we kind of managed to start to recover. And another calamity happens. And I have to be very careful with what I say, because I think this edition of Dungeons and Dragons was a calamity. Not because I think the game is bad, not at all. I have enjoyed 4th edition immensely. I think it's a great game, but I don't think it's very good Dungeons and Dragons. Just like in the previous video, I was talking about how the Marvel game was trying to do something completely different and people had it difficult to get it, to adapt to it, to accept it. I think 4th edition brought that to the table. It was an absolutely fantastic attempt at bringing, you know, video games on the table. And it does that so well. So well, in fact, that the board games based on the same rule set, The Wrath of Ashardalon, Castle Ravenloft, Legend of Drift, they work fantastically well. But unfortunately, the experience of gaming was so far removed from what people expected from a D&D, traditional D&D game, that the rejection was humongous. And that brought Wizards of the Coast into a bit of a tight spot, because they released an insane amount of books full of fluff, but not very many adventures. And because of the draconian agreement to be able to produce material for D&D 4, not many people did it. To make matters worse for Wizards of the Coast, Paizo said, Pathfinder. And they did it so well. They did it so amazingly well. Not just with the game itself, which is exactly what people wanted at the time, but also with the Pathfinder Society. That is hitting the nail on the head if anybody's able to ever do it. And I know I should not split my infinitives. I'm sorry. So out of something calamitous, out of the calamity that was D&D 4, and again, not because I think it's a bad game. I think it's a very good game. I like it a lot. But the production schedule, the strategy, it was a calamity. It just didn't work out. It just did not work out. If it had, they would still be publishing books for 4th edition, but it didn't. No one publishes books or adventures or anything for 4th edition anymore. It's been forgotten. That's a calamity, that's a shame. That's a real shame. There are an awful lot of lessons to be learned. And, you know, as the saying goes, every cloud has its silver lining. And Pathfinder probably was the silver lining. And I'm even going to go as far as to say that 5th edition is the silver lining. Because after the massive tumble that Wizards took in terms of the amount of money they lost or didn't make by the amount of books that they didn't sell, you know, 5th edition is again hitting on the head time and time again. So every single cloud. But let's not kid ourselves about it, and let's not forget our past. Anything can happen that will take people away from our hobby. In a general way, generally speaking, it can happen. And a bad release, an experiment that doesn't go according to plan, and this is not the only time this happened. Warhammer Fantasy 3rd edition also springs to mind, can be a calamity for the game. So please be mindful, be careful, that not everything is always going to go the way we want, but that we are phoenixes. We really are phoenixes, and we can grow out of our own ashes way stronger than we were before. So if anything we are, is good at taking potions of resurrections. Thank you, my friends, for being there. I truly appreciate it, and I will talk to you very soon.